Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to this cast. This is Double X here, and I am going to be casting a 1 versus 1. It is going to be Ciara, the blue Zerg, spawning in the left bottom corner as our first player, and his opponent is going to be Team Millennium's DieStar, is going to be spawning in the top right as the purple Terran. We're going to have a Terran versus Zerg on Shakuras Plateau. It is going to be a game from the European server. I don't know if this is a tournament or a practice game or whatever. But anyways, it is going to be between two grandmasters. DieStar on he's a mid grandmasters player, and Ciara I know is just outside of the top 100 in Europe. So two really great players going to be spawning cross positions on this map, which is yet again going to be Shakuras Plateau. So yeah, nothing too crazy going on. Guess I could introduce the players a little bit more. Ciara, a high-level Zerg player from Europe who qualified for and played in TSL 3, which has recently ended and was won by Mouse Thorsane. But Ciara weren't in that tournament for very long. He came into the tournament. He qualified by points from the Team Liquid TeamSpeak Open Qualifier Cups, and then it was eliminated by the two-time GSL champion OGSMC in the first round. So talk about a fun tournament for Ciara. And DieStar on the other hand, I haven't seen him too much in the bigger tournaments. I know he plays a lot of the Craft Cup tournaments and so on, but nothing more than that. I know he streams a bit as well, so maybe if you want to check out more DieStar game, you could check out his stream. But anyways, let's get underway with this game. I've talked about the players enough, and Ciara is going to get a spawning pool as well as a hatchery. He went for hatchery first and then a spawning pool, which is a very standard Zerg build and very safe to do on big maps like this one. And DieStar is not opting to wall in. That could be because he's scouted so well. He knows that no Zerglings is going to be out for a while, and he's also going to drop his expansion. And I know there's a Reaper on the way as well for DieStar, so this Reaper is very good for scouting, very fast across the map. He can abuse these cliffs all over the place and just jump in and out the base and bypass this precautionary spine crawler by Ciara and just go into the drone line and start harassing them. This queen is going to put creature and move down to the expansion, so this could be dangerous if the Reaper decides to go into his main, but it's going to produce another queen up here. So bunch of queen coming up for Ciara, and no gas as of yet, so he could be going for the no, there comes the gas. I thought he might have gone for the Spanish wall build, which has become very popular throughout the StarCraft community for the Zerg players, but no, he did not. But he's going to drone up very, very hard, and now we can see that DieStar's expansion is just about to finish. I would imagine he's going to transfer a bunch of SCVs. There comes the little SCV train. And he's going to put a reactor on his barracks, so going to be probably switching that with his factory. That is exactly what it's going to do. He has Tech Lab on the other factory. Just now we're starting research the Infernal Preigniter. I would imagine he's going to be starting a Hellions right now. He's going to be able to crank out so many Hellions if you just get some saturation on those minerals, because he's very low on minerals, very low on minerals, and he has to be careful not to spell block himself. He just now finished a supply depot, and take a look at Zerg space. He has a such a great creep speed this early in the game, and that is thanks to his 3 queens. Look at his droning. He's droning up very hard. He basically has no attacking units whatsoever, just focusing on tech. You can see he's getting his layer up, and he'll soon be on 4 gas, and he's probably going to go for Infestors or Mutalisk. And here comes the Evo chamber as well, so maybe not. He's gearing up for Banelings and just wants to have good gas saturation overall to be able to fund those attacks. And mission cancel that creep tumor. No, he did not let that cancel, let that finish, and now he has 5 Hellions in his base with the Infernal Preigniter about to finish, and the DieStar has his expansion up behind of this, and he's also producing 3 more barracks, so we'll be putting on up a lot of pressure here. The Zerg will have to make a bunch of Zerglings. The Banelings will be worthless against the Hellions, so we'll have to use the creep to his advantage and get a good surround on those Hellions, which are now put to patrol on the creep here. You can see, whoa. Just going to patrol around here and bump into each other. Like they're driving on Autobahn or something. And something was cancelled over here. I didn't catch a glimpse of what that was, but we can see a Spire is going to go up in the main of Ciara, and now the Hellions will be marching in here in the front. We have 2 Queens blocking, but that is not going to be enough. They're going to bypass that spike wall, and he attacked command with all of his drones and just bunched up and got one shot by all those Hellions. Now he has to retrieve all his drones. Wow, great game by DieStar thus far, and picking up a bunch of drones and no bunching up them. That is the first thing you learn to deal with Hellion harassment as a Zerg player. Don't bunch up your damn drones. And take a look at the unit kill tab. We can see he lost 20 workers during all that. So this has put our Terran player in such a substantial lead in this game. And now we switched it up to Siege Tank and Marines and completely start production of those Hellions. They're probably going to put a tech lab on this factory as soon as he can. There comes the tech lab. It's going to crank out double siege tanks off of this, and maybe can even switch it up to Thors later. He has his stim pack being almost done now, and going to have a lot of Marines coming on the way because he has triple barracks with reactors. Ciara knows he's behind and going to grab his 3rd expansion. Really common timing to do that around the 10-minute mark as a Zerg. Somewhat late, but not too late for it to be uncommon. And he's now going to start his attack upgrade for the Mutas, and he's going to build as many Mutas as he can, but he has so many other upgrades going as well, so he basically has no resources to fund those Mutas. He just now got 6 up producing, but he only got 2 from the start, so the DieStar is prepared for this. He has so many Marines producing, and he knows that because of all the Zerglings beginning, he would expect Mutas coming from Ciara. But Ciara also has that Zerg ground missile weapons level 1 upgrading, so I would imagine he's going to go for roaches or something like that, or else I think that is a misclick on his part, because why would he research that? This is only going to be good for the Queens, and I don't know if that was intentional or not. And these Mutas can be sniped by those Marines, and while Mutas flying careless and just going to be picked off by those Marines and tanks, and just catching a glimpse of those, and the reinforcement is going to shoot him Mutas away. Only 5 Mutas going to swoop around the map, which is not much. They will have their +1 finishing in about a minute, and we can see a lot of dancing around in the middle of the map is going on, but now we can see that this siege tank line is going to siege up here, and scan and take out a lot of creep tumors, and those siege tanks were actually very vulnerable to those Mutas when the Marines were going back here and killing creep tumors. So that is definitely something to keep in mind, to always guard your siege tank, because there are always Mutas flying around wanting to snipe those siege tank for the Zerg player. And wow, look at all the Zerglings and Banelings. This is great against what the Terran has, because you can just roll in and snipe off all the Marines with the Banelings, and then you can just snipe the tanks with the Mutas, and then just kill off what's remaining with those Zerglings. So now he's going to sandwich this Terran contain in the middle, running up with the Zerglings first to take all that damage, and look how how many damage all those banelings did, although DieStar did a great job at sacrificing one marine for one baneling there, so not pretty nice spread. Not the best spread I've seen, but not the worst either. And the Terran has such a great macro. He's just now going to grab his third, so we'll just continue to stream units here non-stop. But the Zerg already has his third up and running with all those injects. I think he will be able to hold this off if he doesn't let all those mutas die, because this is what basically keeps him in the game, because those can't be attacked by all those siege tanks. And now those siege tanks are left vulnerable and going to be picked off by those remaining Zerg armies. And now after all those units lost for both players, we can see they're dead even in the supply counts. But now this planetary fortress is going to finish, and a bunch of turrets is going to be set up here for the Terran player. So once these turrets are set up, this expansion will be really safe for DieStar to hold on till, and basically wants to mine out this as soon as possible, because even though it's very well fortificated, it is much more difficult to hold on to than, let's say, this expansion or even this expansion. And now our Zerg player Ciara is going to grab his fourth. I love hard macroing Zergs because it pays off so much to have so many expansions and so many hatcheries. You can rally so many units at once. And just now going to put up his infestation pit somewhere on the map. There it is. And he's most likely going to follow it up with high tech, because we're approaching 20 minutes into the game, and being on high tech, not being on high tech after 20 minutes into the game, it's not a very good place to be in when you have done no economic damage to the Terran player whatsoever, and the Terran player has done massive econ damage to yourself. Let's take a look at this. Still 20 workers killed for our Zerg player by our Terran player. So the Zerg player is behind by a lot. And take a look at the units lost tab. We can see that they're pretty much even in the units lost, but the Zerg has not produced any expensive units yet, except for those mutas. But everything else has been Zerglings and suicidal banelings. So now drawing up really hard, and there comes the high tech and also the Pathogen glands and the Zergling attack level 1. I think that was what he's trying to research before, when he researched the Zerg missile level 1 for the ground units. Now comes the Terran massive push through the middle. Submarines just steaming forward with the medevac support to kill off a bunch of creep tumors. Ciara had really great creep spread in the beginning of his game, but now he has been denied creep spreading by the Terran army. Nice job picking off a siege tank with those mutas, which are growing larger and larger in number, but just now going to add in some infestors with those Pathogen glands finishing, and real nice timing on those, and also going to add in a bunch of Zerglings and banelings, so getting a healthy unit composition, neglecting the standard roaches and hydras, and just going for mass muta baneling, Zergling infestor, which is a really great build as well if you can fund it. Although he has 4 base with 8 gas. He has all of his gases saturating and now getting transfer on his drones. And now we can see the Terran is going to engage here, but nice fungal growth on all those Terran units left them vulnerable, and he didn't want to follow up because he hadn't anything to following it up with. And now nice fungal growth again is going to drain those medevac's dry energy. You can see his medevac is on 0 so fast, and only 3 marines remaining, so good use of those fungal growths. And he has very many more fungal growths to use, but the marines are +1, +2, so going to be pretty effective here against those Zerg units. And he really has to get his siege tank into a better position, maybe here or something, because well, scratch that, because he lost all of his marines. I thought he was in great shape, but now look at this. The Zerg player is going to morph his Spire into a Great Spire, so we're going to see Brood Lords anytime soon, and sometime soon, and he's going to build those Corruptors just to be prepared and get those Brood Lords as soon as possible, and sniping a creep tumor there. DieStar doing a really great job doing those really small things that help a lot. A nice fungal growth there, and letting those banelings and Zerglings just decimate all those marines. Now that is what I'm talking about. The Zerg player has to, no, the Terran player has to leapfrog his tanks forward to keep the Zerg in a contain, but the Zerg player is doing a great job at just countering the Terran, and all those Mutalisk is just going to hack away at all those Marines, and now 2 Vikings spawning, and Vikings not ideal against Mutalisk, but I think he's seen the Broodlord cocoons that is somewhere on the map. We can see Broodlords is morphing in right here, so that is basically why he produced those Viking, I think. And our Terran player has been on 3 base for such a long time. You can see he has basically no minerals and so much gas, so even though he has a bunch of production facilities, he can't spend it all because he doesn't have enough minerals to do that. So he will need to grab a 4th base, and that is exactly what he's going to do. Fly command center there, which it has not been upgraded to an orbital command, and that is mainly because he maybe wants to upgrade it to a PF as soon as he lands. Now the Zerg player is feeling comfortable. He has a 30 supply lead over the Terran army and wants to go in here and snipe his 3rd, but no, he backs out. He realized there is a well-fortified planetary fortress there. Now the Terran siege tank, Marine medic ball is moving out, but no, it's not. And the Marines will soon be at 3 attack, and that is going to be devastating for those Broodlords if he can stim and get under them. But if the Zerg player can guard the Broodlords, they will just be so effective against those Marines. And here comes the Vikings and going to shoot away at those Broodlords, doing so much damage. Just 2 Vikings almost picked up 1 Broodlord in a couple of shots, just escaping with 2 measly HP. Who says that Zerg health regeneration doesn't save lives? Look at that Broodlord. It's just so happy that it has that health regeneration. Now we can see 14 Marines is going to be spawning for our Terran player. Now he has got his macro up and going. He has so many barracks with reactors all the way over the map. And he also has a bunch of reactor starports, as well as a lot of factories with tech labs, which allows him to produce this healthy unit composition to what the Zerg has. But the Zerg has such a great composition himself, so basically these 2 compositions are great against each other. So it will all come down to upgrades and macro. Take a look at the Zerglings. They only have +1 attack, and the Broodlords only has +1 attack as well, so the upgrades would fare the Terran player, and apparently has some lags, and that's what TT's about it, but he's probably going to TT about this as well, and by TT I mean he's going to cry like he's going to cry much, but no, the Zerg player is the one who's going to cry. Look at that, he lost all his units that fast, and now the Terran player is about a 40 supply lead, and that is not good as a Zerg player. And the Terran is at 40 supply lead, and a lot of that is in units that are not on the field as well for the Zerg player. So, and apparently we have some spectators in this game, and some of them is lagging. As far as I can understand what DieStar is saying, and not watching it live. But he's got a nice mech ball going here with the Marine support. And that is basically what a Terran player has to do. If he goes for a mech ball, you always have to have that Marine support for the DPS, and because they're so damn cheap. And now the Terran player is going to max out, and that is basically when he wants to move out, as soon as those siege tanks finish. And maybe he's waiting for that vehicle weapons level 2 before he moves out. But a maxed out Terran against a non-maxed out Zerg, with the upgrades favoring the Terran, that can only end in one way. The Terran will just plow through the Zerg army. But let's see if Ciara has what it takes concerning the micro and such. And he apparently got his hatchery sniped over here, so great game from DieStar, just keeping the Zerg player contained. And now he has a squadron of Marines marching over here with the siege tank support, and even a Viking to guard them, and going to snipe this hatchery as well. So Ciara's economy is just going to be dwindling here, because he will soon be mined out here, and he has no saturation whatsoever, and no saturation up here as well, because that was a drop. I think I saw a medevac over here somewhere before, but now comes the Broodlords and are going to snipe those Marines easily as hell. And the Viking here is going to shoot away, and those corruptor players have to snipe that Viking, but look at how many Vikings is here. Brutals will either have to go all in or just back out as soon as possible. Now the Thors are even going to do massive damage to those bunched up corruptors. Look at how fast they just evaporate from the field. And now we're going to have 11 more corruptors spawning, as well as 4 more infestors. And these broodlords is so vulnerable right now. They will have to seek protection somewhere on the map. Now the corruptors is going to go in here and going to tank a lot of shots and snipe those corruptors. And look at how... No, the Vikings. But look at this, what DieStar is allowed to do when he has that great economy going all over the place. He's allowed to just throw down a bunch of production facilities. Going to be maxed out over the Zergs, just 126. That is not great, and he's almost at the +3 weapons and no weapons for his mech units, and this is just a heyday for those Marines, and just going to shoot away at so easily at those Zerg units, and Ciara left the game without GGing because... But I'd say a GG would be very suiting for this game, because DieStar did a really great job at keeping Ciara contained and taking out his hatcheries and all that good stuff, and just macroing like a pro when Ciara was macroing like a pro first. But the DieStar just catched up and did massive economic damage with those Hellions in the beginning, and I think that is basically what it all came down to. So great game by DieStar, even though Ciara won't admit it. So, but anyways, this was game 1 in a best of 3. I think I forgot to say that. So let's move on to game number 2. See you guys then.